You see, the mind, it's the most powerful force in the world. And thinking is a very, very powerful form of energy. Thought waves are cosmic waves that penetrate all time and space. Now, as we go into the laws of thinking, I want to refer to a few points from Raymond Halliwell. He said, to the average person, life is an enigma, a deep mystery, a complex and incomprehensible problem, or appears so.
If you believe that the way you think has some effect on your life, and you think the same thoughts every day, 90% of most people think the same thoughts as they did yesterday. Would you agree then that if you're not waking up every morning being defined?
But it's very simple if one holds the key. You see, mystery is just another name for ignorance. All things are mysterious when they're not understood. But when we understand life, it no longer appears mysterious.
By some vision of your future, then pretty much you are going to be living by the memories of your past, and you will be predictable in your life. Yes or no? Because the brain is a record of the past.
You know, until I was 26, life was a real mystery to me. It was an incomprehensible problem. And of course, I had many problems. But then I began to study, and I began to study this information. And you know, it took me a while, but as I started to adopt the concepts and adapt my mind to them, my life started to change. My problems started to sort of disappear. I started to earn a lot more money. I was living in a healthy body, very rarely ever being ill. I noticed that I started to attract different people into my life, more interesting people.
If you're not creating a new future, is it possible that you believe in your past more than you believe in your future? And is it possible then that many people don't want to create a new future because they're more in love with their past than they are with their future? In fact, they romance their past every single day. So then is it possible then that that person in the same brain circuitry, in the same emotions of the past, are viewing their life through the lens of the past? And they're not seeing things how they are. They're actually perceiving and seeing things how they are. And they're telling a story in their mind that's actually causing them to perceive life equal to that story.
A person's interesting because they're interested. And you see, as we start thinking powerful thoughts, everything starts to happen. Now let me share something that Raymond Halliwell said. He said, we're progressive beings, you and I, a creature of constant growth, before whom lies an illimitable ocean of progress to be navigated and conquered only by development and culture of our inherent powers.
You ask that person, so why are you this way? And they say, I'm so glad you asked, because I get to talk about my past. And as they talk about the incidents in their past, would you agree then that they're saying that was the event that changed me, and I haven't actually been able to change since that event. That event has defined me as the person I am today. Yes or no? Now, the research on memory says after a period of time, that story that they tell of their past, 50% of it isn't even the truth.
The progress of the individual is largely determined by his ruling mental state. Because the mind is the basic factor in governing power in the entire life. Attention should be given to the predominant mental state, for it will regulate the action and direction of all one's forces, faculties, and powers, the sum total of which will inevitably determine many particular experiences and personal fate. You see, the ruling state of mind is made up of various mental attitudes, which the individual adopts towards things, events, and life in general. If the attitudes are broad in mind, optimistic in tone, and true of life, his predominant mental state will correspond and exhibit a highly constructive and progressive tendency.
So they're making stuff up. They are reliving a miserable life they never even had, just to reaffirm, to recreate the emotions, to excuse themselves from changing. So then most people then, they may say with the 5% of their conscious mind, I want a new life, I want a new relationship, I want a new career, or I am healthy. But if 95% of who they are is subconsciously programmed into the past, then that thought of their health, that thought of their wealth is never going to make it to the body, because the body is programmed into the past. How many people understand? So then if you teach a person that,
because almost all the forces of the personality function through the conscious mind in one way or another, and as the daily mental and physical acts are largely controlled by the conscious mind, it's obvious that the leading mental state must determine the direction which the powers of the individual must proceed. You see, the ruling mental state is everything. I know that you and I have been trained to believe that we've got to change what's going on out there. We've got to fix this and fix that. And we have literally been programmed to live through our senses, to go by what we hear, see, smell, taste, or touch.
how to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past, then they would have to really start thinking differently. Would you agree? They would have to start making different choices than the choices that they always make. Yes or no? They're going to have to start doing different things and breaking certain habits. And that's going to be uncomfortable. Yes or no? Because the body's going to say, why are we doing this? It's so much more fun suffering than going out for a walk into joy. I don't know if I believe in joy. I believe in suffering. The body goes back.